My name is Mason Lin. I'm 33 years old and work in a dusty little auto shop on the east side of Detroit. By trade, I'm a mechanic. But in spirit, I'm something more dangerous. A man who's learned how to break the chains others can't see. I wasn't always this way. Back in my 20s, I drifted. Not entirely unhappy, but always stuck in second gear. I thought procrastination was a personality flaw. I thought motivation came from luck or being born special, but I was wrong. Totally wrong. Everything changed the year my father had a stroke. I was still living at home, eating his groceries, driving the car he bought me in college. I blamed him for being controlling, yet I let him pay my bills. When he collapsed in the kitchen that afternoon and I stood there frozen, calling 911 with shaking hands, something snapped. That night, as I sat alone in the hospital waiting room, I realized something that changed my life. Pain, real pain, is the only thing that makes you move. People ask me now why I have so much drive, why I can work 12 hours straight, then spend the night teaching myself coding, why I gave up cigarettes, fast food, and laziness all at once. They think I've got something they don't, but what I have is pain, and I'm not afraid to use it. There are only two things that truly transform people: extreme pain and extreme desire. Today, I want to talk about the first. For me, the first kind of pain came from family. Not abuse, not shouting, just years of emotional decay, silence, guilt, obligation. When my dad got sick, it hit me that I was 28 years old and still waiting for someone else to clean up my mess. The truth is, you don't really grow up until you realize no one's coming to save you. I left home within 3 weeks, found a tiny one-bedroom apartment with cracked walls and leaky pipes. Took a job fixing cars under the table. I cut my expenses to the bone. If I made $60 in a day, I spent no more than that. I lived like a soldier in enemy territory, but for the first time, I felt free. Economic independence is the only path to real freedom. Here's the hard truth. You can't be mentally independent if you're still financially tethered to someone else. All your noble thoughts, your dreams, your courage, they'll evaporate the minute your landlord wants rent and you have to call your parents for help. And yet, I see it every day. Guys my age still living at home, blaming their lack of success on family trauma, yet enjoying the warm bed and free Wi-Fi. They say they hate control but won't give up comfort. They're stuck, and they'll stay stuck until pain wakes them up. I had another kind of pain too. In college, I was top of my class in math until I failed my senior project because I plagiarized a formula. I still remember that shame. The professor didn't even yell. He just looked at me and said, "I expected better." That hurt more than the F. Real pain comes when you fall from a whore. Height you were proud of. That memory stuck with me, burned itself into my ego. It pushed me, made me better. Fear is also a kind of fuel. I was terrified of ending up like the people who never leave the neighborhood, who live, work, and die within a 5-mile radius. Fear made me frugal. Fear kept me moving. I learned to let fear sharpen me instead of paralyze me. Now, every dollar I earn is mine. Every step forward, even the smallest, feels like a rebellion against the past. This is how I started to rebuild myself. And it all began the day pain knocked on my door and refused to leave. When I tell people I used to live on less than $10 a day, even when I was making much more, they think I'm exaggerating. I'm not. I was practicing discipline through discomfort. Because the moment you feel too safe, you stop moving forward. There's a saying I believe in. If a person thinks they have a way out, they'll never charge ahead with everything they've got. And that's the trap. Comfort becomes your cage. I still remember the time I treated myself to a rare $6 milk tea, sweet, creamy, and instantly followed by guilt. I hadn't hit my daily target that day, and that little luxury tasted like failure. I made up for it by skipping dinner. Sounds harsh? Maybe, but it taught me something. Self-control builds self-respect. Let me talk about the third kind of pain, health. I spent a week in the hospital 3 years ago after a ruptured appendix. I had never felt so weak, so mortal. That hospital bed changed me. I watched people walk past my curtain every day, nurses, janitors, family members of other patients, and I realized how little power we have once our bodies fail us. Some people come out of illness more alive. Others never come back. Pain is a gamble. You can't always survive it, but if you do, and you reflect, it becomes your greatest gift. Still, I don't recommend waiting around for disaster to shape you. You can't chase extreme pain. It either finds you or it doesn't. But you can choose a different path. Active suffering. What's that? It's pushing through the pain that you voluntarily choose. The pain of early mornings, sweat-drenched workouts, boring books, unpaid effort, learning skills when you'd rather scroll your phone. You do it not because it feels good, but because it's the only way to get the life you want. You want to lose weight? That's pain. You want to be financially free? That's pain too. Skipping parties, learning sales, failing in front of people. You want love that lasts? More pain, therapy, patience, forgiveness. Active suffering is the difference between people who move and people who wait. Most folks think winners know some secret, that success is some trick they missed. But the truth is brutal. Winners don't run from the pain. They live in it, bend it, and use it. If you see someone thriving, and your first thought is they must have cheated them, you've already lost. You're still searching for a shortcut. Real freedom isn't about removing pain. It's about choosing which pain to bear. Here's something I live by now.
Freedom ability either lower your desires or raise your abilities. But don't pretend you can have both without sacrifice. Want more? Bleed for it. Want peace? Cut back. You choose.
Every drop of sweat I've earned has bought me something more valuable than money. Consistency. I am who I say I am, even when no one's watching. That's freedom. That's power.
Next time I'll talk about extreme desire, the second force that can reshape your life. But for now, ask yourself, what kind of pain are you willing to endure to stop living like you're waiting to die?